Welcome aboard the 4 to 7 podcast. I am Chris Hecker, joined as always by Jerry Durney. We have officially entered the September for the Embers. That's what I'm calling it for now. But we are here. Jerry is the Mike Evans Hall of Fame campaign manager. If you need an assistant, I would be down to apply for that position.
How soon can you start?
Right now.
All right.
All right, let's do it. But let's talk some baseball. So Yankees have entered a very important stretch in their season. One that could really define the way things go. And like it's off to a good start, taking 2 out of 3 against Houston. I still think the best or worst of this stretch, though, is yet to come. But this was the beginning of a 12-game stretch of where we were playing Houston for 3 games, Toronto for 3 games coming up this weekend, followed by Detroit and Boston. So, like, all the, basically the team that has always been your kryptonite in the Astros. You take 2 out of 3 against them. So very encouraging start. The Yankees, they've been doing this thing this year where they look like World Series contenders one game, and then like the next day they look like the worst fucking baseball team ever, like the Colorado Rockies. And tonight's game had a little bit of everything. You had the Yankees going up 4-0, almost blowing that lead, or I think they might have actually. No, they didn't blow that lead. But it was, they were up 4-0, and then the Astros get it to 4-3. Anthony Volpe's committing errors. Brian Walsh umpiring once again on full display. But
I mentioned this before we went on air, and I said this is where Boone's reputation hurts him, because if that's anybody else, I think everybody would be like, yeah, how do you come to that conclusion? How did you arrive at that? That was obvious. And why didn't they actually look at it? They just huddled up and decided it was still the correct call. But it's Aaron Boone and everyone else is like, all right, shut up.
Yeah, like, all right, like, we get it. You're gonna get ejected again to like try to distract everyone from the fact that you suck at everything else about what you do.
Yeah, call me when the John Boy breakdown hits tomorrow at noon.
Yeah. Okay. And better yet, don't call me. I don't care.
Chris is right.
Yeah. I said what I said.
But I stand with you. I agree with your right to say it.
Appreciate you. Way to have my back. But yeah, so a huge start, I think, getting 2 out of 3, because I mean they were beating up on the bad teams, which got them to a point where they were within striking distance for the division again. And then you enter this stretch, and I don't know, I kind of entered this stretch kind of expecting the worst. I was like, we're starting out in Houston, and then from there it's just going to unravel. But and they almost came back and won, to their credit, last night too. I mean, they ended up on the losing side of it, but I was expecting them to kind of, when it was like 8-3 in the ninth inning, I was expecting them to kind of just lay down and die at that point. And I mean, they did make it somewhat interesting. And, if someone other than Brian Walsh is umpiring, who knows how that game even turns out.
This is how insane this stretch is, because I have the current, this is the bracket as of right now, if the season ended today, which obviously it doesn't, but so the Yankees just finished a series with the team that is currently number 3 in the AL. They are going this weekend to Toronto. They're home. They're home against the Blue Jays, who are the current number 1 seed in the AL. Then they will host the Tigers, who are the number 2 seed currently in the AL. Then they go to Boston, who, if the season ended today, they would play in the first round.
Yeah, we would play each other, and they have had our number this year.
That's an insane run for September.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, an absolutely insane stretch. But you got to admit that got to admit that the script writers were cooking with with that stretch. And then I think after that we play like the White Sox and like
You get
the
Minnesota,
Orioles
Baltimore
maybe.
twice, and the White Sox. So it does balance out.
Yeah, so we get a little bit, but I'm sure the Orioles will be chomping at the bit to fuck up our season or fuck up our seeding if there is anything for them to fuck up at that point.
That's us in the Marlins.
Yeah.
Man, you ain't kidding.
Yeah, and then we got we got Cam Schlittler going tomorrow against Kevin Guzman, and then we got Heel versus Scherzer Saturday, and then Fried versus Chris Bissett on Sunday to close out the series.
Saturday and Sunday should be yours. I would not worry about that too much.
Yeah, I mean, even tomorrow with Schlittler on the mound, I feel pretty good about it. And as a matter of fact, I would maybe even go as far to say that I trust Schlittler the most right now.
That's not a crazy take.
Yeah, it's probably Schlittler and Rodon. Max Fried has been much better. Max Fried has been much better. His last couple of starts, to his credit too. So, I don't want to sell him short either. But that was, he had a pretty bad stretch for pretty long. So, might need to see a little more before I can really trust him again going into like a big stretch. But when he's right, he's a great pitcher. So. He got the ERA back under 3. What's that?
Who saw both of our teams getting saved by rookies when this season started?
Yeah, right. Definitely more on that later. But yeah, I mean, I think it should be a lesson for a lot of the league to just let your young talent play.
Yeah, I mean, talent will level out, and if you're good enough to be there, it'll show.
Yeah, whether you're in it and you need a piece, or you're out of it and you just need to see what you have. Like especially this time of year, there's really no reason not to let the young men play, especially if they are filling a need, like a starting pitcher that can actually show some balls once in a while.
I mean, because if nothing else, I mean, and who knows how either of our seasons turned out, but if you're a Yankee fan, health provided, but you can go into 2026 knowing, all right, hey, we're going to get Cole back.
Cole's back.
Fried mostly looked good in year one of that contract. And look at that. Cam Schlittler actually turned into something.
Yeah. And then,
who knows with Rodon? Who knows?
Yeah,
but at the very least, like those are 3, like I know I can put those 3 in pen. I'm good.
Yeah, Rodon would definitely need to see it like again with Rodon. Like I do believe in him. He's obviously turned it around, but just like the way the first couple of years of that contract, where I would have to definitely see it again before I'm really putting a lot of faith in him. Although he gutted it out tonight. The Yankees did this thing tonight where like at times, they looked like the worst team in baseball, but then like other times you really saw like, how good they can be. And like you saw moments where their pitchers, like where you would expect them to fold, where everyone kind of nutted up. Like, in like the 6th inning, Rodon was trying to get out of the game, and Volpe had like an almost error, and then I think that was when the McMahon catch that was the McMahon not catch that was a catch. I think that's when that happened, and that gave them a free runner, and I think they ended up scoring at least one run off of that. But
they did.
Yeah,
and that made it 4-2.
Yeah, that made it 4-2, and I'm pretty sure they scored another run in that inning, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that was the only one.
Oh, okay. No shit.
Now they scored the next inning. They scored the next inning to make it 4-3.
That's right. Okay, yeah. I just watched that game and don't remember what happened. Go figure. But
Hey, it's September. We're all loopy at this point.
yeah. Yeah, but yeah, like they you were like, okay, like here it comes, like we're gonna implode against the Astros again, just like we did last night. But Fernando, like Carlos Rodon, like despite that, he was able to nut up, he was able to get out of it, finish that sixth inning because the Yankees have been running into a little bit of an issue similar to the Mets, where I think that certain guys in the bullpen, I mean, there's a lot of people in our bullpen right now that are not reliable, and the bullpen usage and like the budgeting of everyone's pitches right now, it's definitely not pretty. So we're suffering from a little bit. We're suffering not to the same degree, but we are suffering from that a little bit. Like when Will Warren pitches, and I mean to that point, like the Yankees pitching rotation, with what you were saying, I mean it could get interesting and pretty crowded come 2026. Like there might have to be an odd man out because I mean, um, Cole's coming back. You got Fried and Rodon under contract for a while. Not to mention, Schlittler, obviously. And then you would have Heel and Will Warren. So I feel like one of the, unless you want to just, I mean, you could just go with a 6-man rotation. It might make sense, especially like with Cole coming off Tommy
I
John
was
to
gonna
maybe
say, yeah.
give him the extra day of rest. So,
And plus, like
he could
Rodon's
be
had
looking
an
at
injury
3
history.
man rotation next year.
I was gonna say, like with Rodon's injury history, like that's not the worst idea either to like try to conserve that for him, that he can
Yeah,
keep
and
him sturdier for longer.
I think Fried had an injury like at one point, right?
He did, but like I wouldn't say he has an injury history the way Rodon did. Like a lot of his Chicago career, like obviously he was good when he was healthy, but in Chicago it
Yeah.
was always, man, can he hold up at all? And once
Right.
he finally started to do that in the back half of his Chicago career, and then with the Giants, it was, oh, well, we always knew this pitcher was there. He just needed to be able to hold up. So, and especially as he's got those innings on him, he's getting older, he's on the other side of 30. Like, that's something where, especially
Yeah, and
because you put that
Fried's on the
investment
wrong
in
side of
him.
32. So I mean,
Right.
I'm sure even without necessarily having being like Freeze, like I'm not saying Freeze like injury prone or that he has like a significant injury history, but like he has gotten hurt before and he is getting up there. So
Yeah.
And Heel's coming off an injury too. So it might just make more sense for us to just have a 6-man rotation, and I think that keeps everyone in the bullpen a little fresher. Devin Williams can get the fuck out of here.
So Fried will be 32 when next season starts.
Yep.
Rodon will be 33 when next season starts.
Yep.
And I think Cole's will be 35 when next season starts. So there is
Cole's
that.
35. Damn, I guess he is. Or yeah, Cole was born in 91, wasn't he?
Yeah, because Cole went in the 2011 draft, Fried went in 2012, and Rodon went 2014. So when you put it in those, and I know Fried got taken out of high school, but the other two were out of college.
Yeah, he's 34 now. He'll be 35. He's actually going to be 35 like in 3 days. So yeah. Yeah, so that'll be so next year will be like his actual age 35 season though. It's interesting I wonder what the cutoff date is for how it's like, okay, this is your age 35 or your age 36, whatever season. Like, I wonder what it's like, if you were like the kid in your grade who was born in December and it's like you're either the youngest kid in one grade or like the oldest kid in another grade. Like, I wonder what that date is for baseball. I think Fangraphs might actually like have one. I think it's like, I want to say it's like sometime in like July. Which I guess makes sense for both like
the
an actual calendar year and like a baseball season standpoint.
Yeah, for the literal halfway point, that would make sense.
Yeah. But yeah.
looking at the Rookie of the Year polls, and obviously Kurtz is going to win it, but
Yeah.
I was going to say, you were on to something with picking a Yankee pitcher to win Rookie of the Year. You just didn't know it could have been this one.
Yeah, I did pick Will Warren. So I mean, yeah, it wasn't. Never wrong. Just never wrong. I was in the ballpark. Never wrong. Just early, I guess.
They're still getting Dominguez odds, which I don't know how I feel about that.
I think yeah. I mean, that's like
He's fine.
That's a donation. He's had some hot streaks, and I guess maybe the thought is like if he just absolutely like tears it up in September, that
maybe
he and if like Kurtz falls off like a little bit, and I guess he's plus 5,000 on the on the DraftKings market. It's probably that would probably be a donation if you did that. I mean, I don't think he's gonna get the playing time to go on that type of run to to be able to overtake that award. The NL Rookie of the Year race is pretty interesting, though.
Well, I'll say this: it's not as well. Actually, I don't think PCA qualifies for that anymore, does he? Like, I think he's played enough games that.
No, he doesn't. Because I mean, if he did, I'm sure he would be like the favorite. But
no, he's not in that.
Right now, it's between Cade Horton and Jake Baldwin, and it looks like it's pretty close.
Cade Horton coming on strong of late.
Yeah, because like for a minute it looked like Drake Baldwin was going to run away with it, and then Cade Horton kind of just came through out of nowhere.
This is why I hate the Atlanta Braves, because they gave Murphy that contract, and he stinks this year, and it's like, finally, one of these things is going to bite. Nope, they're just going to ship him out, and Drake Baldwin's going to take, like, God damn it. Can they step on one landmine, please?
Yeah, like, can they just do something wrong for once?
He's breaking.
Yeah, like, it's been pretty annoying that, the Red Sox just seem to keep winning, although I think they did lose 2 out of 3 of the Guardians.
And Roman Anthony's out for the rest of the regular season, so there's that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's definitely unfortunate for him. I mean, he was in the running for Rookie of the Year, and he was having a really good rookie year before that happened. But it is annoying just because it's like, oh, you guys traded Devers, and everyone thought like you were just like giving up, and now. Now you and I was wrong. The Red Sox did not take 2 out of 3. They the Guardians didn't take 2 out of 3. The Red Sox took 2 out of 3. So yeah, it's pretty annoying that the Red Sox just aren't losing, despite the fact that Roman Anthony is out for the year. They traded Devers. Everyone thought they're just throwing in the towel. And by the way, Rafi Devers. Kyle Freeland versus Colorado Rockies, longest home run trot ever.
The funniest part of that to me is the Rockies broadcast trying to play the act like you've been there before. My brother in Christ, you already have 100 losses. I don't think you get to lecture anybody about doing anything before.
Yeah. Yeah. Why don't you get there, and then you can decide how people want to act.
Yeah, you get to be the meme of the dude standing at the door. Oh, Rafael Devers, come on through. Journeyman catcher. Mm-mm.
Yeah, he can pimp a home run if he wants to.
Like I get it. It's not like, especially for Kyle Freeland, like, you used to be great and now it's this. Like, I get it, but come on, man.
Yeah, heavy. Yeah, a little heavy on the come on, man. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, dude, this is baseball now, and Like I am pro celebrating. Like pitchers should also wild out after they get a big strikeout. Like in the I forget, it was the eighth inning. So Fernando Cruz he's a dog, and like he got like a big strikeout in the seventh and a big strikeout in the eighth to get us out of both of those innings, and just like the energy, just like he's like pounding his chest. He was doing like he was like smacking, like he was like slamming like on the gate, slamming his hand on the Gatorade bottle, like after Trent Grisham hit the grand slam in the ninth.
Jose Fernandez had the very best take on this, which is like, yeah, if the guy hits home run off me, he can do what he wants. Because on the next at bat, I'm going to strike you out, and I'm throwing it right back at you. Which that's the correct take.
Yeah,
a pitcher can absolutely do what he wants if he strikes a guy out, and if a guy takes him 450, he can do the Watusi on home plate for all I care.
Yeah, no, it's only right. It's only right, but at the same time, I don't want to see I don't want to see brawls go away. So if people want to continue to get butthurt about it and do that after, as lame as it is, be my guest. We just need to keep the machine going.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this in the offseason. Like, maybe this is my most boomer take. I don't mind seeing a guy wear one once in a while. I'm not advocating headhunting whatsoever.
No, that's not cool.
But if you put one in the guy's ribs, or you hit his ass, or you hit one off his knee or whatever, go ahead. But I'm also not saying like do that if a guy trots too long, because like, hey, don't get taken yard. That's kind of where I'm at on that. It's like,
there's a pitch clock, but there's not a trot clock. So if there's nothing to dictate that, I mean, I guess that's why they call it like self-policing or whatever. But
so, question with the Yankees, because there is a possibility. I know we mentioned what the bracket looks like right now, but that could shake any number of ways between now and the end of the month. Do you feel a little better? I know you've talked about like that the Astros are that postseason demon that you worry about, but does he give you a little bit of confidence that like if you had to go to Houston for a playoff series, hey, we just went there and won 2 out of 3. And the best parallel I can give to that is, prior to last year, the Mets' history with the Phillies had not been great. But when it lined up that we were going to play the Phillies in the NLDS, it was, well, hey, we just played these guys a bunch a couple weeks ago, and we won. If I remember correctly, I think we had won like 4 out of 6 against them, and the 2 that we lost were very winnable. So, like, part of the reason why I went into that series was like, hey, we were playing games that mattered, and the Phillies were trying to lock down the division. So it wasn't like they were punting. And so both teams were playing hard, trying to get something, and we won. Like, nothing changes. It matters now. Like, you shouldn't go in intimidated. You just played these guys and you beat them. So I don't know how Yankee fans feel, because I know that history is very different. But if you had to go to Houston, you just took 2 or 3 from these guys, and it very nearly could have been a sweep. So, like, does this give you a little bit of like, hey, if we have to go do this, we can now?
I would say a little bit, yeah. I mean, it would still be that shit would still be stressful, no doubt about it. But yeah, I mean, I would say the Astros, they don't scare me like they did, say, they did 3 years ago, or during throughout that time, like from like 2017 to like to like 2022, 2023, like even last year I was like, yeah, like it would be nice to probably avoid them and just not have to deal with it. But I like seeing how we played them last year too, and they're not like this, they aren't like this invincible, unbeatable team. I mean, it's a lot of the same guys that they've had there that whole time, especially like with Carlos Correa being back there too. But Yeah, but I mean, Altuve's still, he's still good, and he can still be a problem. But I don't know. It's not so much like, oh shit, like we got to deal with Altuve, because like, I mean, he was also, they were doing the left field experiment with him. So, I don't know exactly what's going on, but I'd say like probably the hitter in that lineup that's like most mortifying is probably Jordan Alvarez. Like even if he's not having his best year, like he can still hit a ball 500 feet at pretty much any time. Or he
Jordan's
could boot one
postseason
over
resume
Anthony
is
Volpe's
very
head.
interesting.
What's that?
Jordan's postseason resume is very interesting because he is either absolutely nuclear hot or the coldest hitter on the planet with no in between. I want to say I think when you guys played them in 2019, I think it went like 1 for the series, maybe. It was not great.
Yeah, that is true. He was a non-factor in that series.
In 2022, his slash line for the postseason was 192, 311, 423, and he probably had the 2 biggest hits of their entire run. Which was the Seattle home run off Robbie Ray, and then the home run in Game 6 against the Phillies.
That's right, yeah.
And then the next year he goes 465, 510, 977. Just preposterous.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely a Jekyll and Hyde situation with Jordan. Definitely not someone, I'd want to see per se, but we could cross that bridge when we get there.
Right.
Obviously, I mean, now that the division is like within striking distance, I'd probably just rather win the division, and maybe get a first round bye and kind of like let the chips fall where they may, and not necessarily have to, because it's a like for the wild card series, it's 2 games it's 2 out of 3 games all in the same stadium, right? Like they don't travel for that.
No, whoever the higher seed is gets all 3.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's no traveling. So yeah, I would definitely prefer to have a bye and just like kind of let these other teams beat the shit out of each other, and let the chips fall where they may. Because I mean, we did that last year and it worked out pretty well.
And as it stands, if you were able to run Toronto down for the AL East, you would have at worst a 50-50 shot of getting the 1 seed and having home field for the ALCS too. So there's that.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, that's definitely thinking ahead. But we've pretty much, I'd say we're pretty. I'm pretty fairly certain we're gonna make the playoffs at this point. So I'm not too worried about that, but I would say, I mean, I think it's a lot of it's going to come down to this weekend. I mean, it's a 3-game series. We're 3 games back. So let's fucking go. And, I wouldn't say I'm expecting to, sweep and like tie it up for the division, although that would be great. But just go in there. I mean, yeah, if you could just go in there and get 2 out of 3. Like you said, I think, yeah, like you said before, like Saturday and Sunday should be our games. I feel good about Schlittler tomorrow. So, I mean, Max Scherzer has been like fairly decent this year, but not like he hasn't been like the old Max Scherzer, but he's put together a pretty nice year after a few bad ones.
Also, I should point out for the Blue Jays after this series, then they have, for the rest of the way, it's the Astros at home. Could go either way.
Yep.
Home for Baltimore, but then at Tampa, who are 2 games out of the last wild card spot, so still have something to play for. At Kansas City, who are also 2 out. They're both 71 and 69 at the moment, although I do know that Kansas City just lost Seth Lugo to the IL, and it's a 15-dayer. So They might get one more start out of him, and they're still missing Cole Reagans. So that could be a killer, but still not an easy series, and that's on the road. Then they get the Red Sox, and then they finish with the Rays. So I know the Yankees next 2 weeks are not easy, but at least you get to kind of coast after that, so to speak.
Yeah, and then the Blue
Jays
Jays can get the So I mean, if we could like, we don't necessarily have to close this division lead this weekend, although that would be sick. But if we can gain some ground this weekend, to take 2 out of 3, and then, just continue to weather the shitstorm of the schedule, and then we get to Minnesota, Baltimore, and whoever
White
else,
Sox.
White Sox, like all the shit teams, and then let the fucking Blue Jays go through hell. And then we should be. I think we have a decent chance to get back in the first place.
And for what it's worth, because they are tied with you guys, the Red Sox have Arizona this weekend, which you really genuinely never know which Arizona team's showing up. They could be anything.
Very true.
Then they have the A's, which I know their record's not great, but like the A's could kind of be a tough out there. Just that lineup alone, I would not want to face.
If the A's can get some pitching, and maybe get a pitcher that's better than Luis Severino and maybe pay him more money. If they could do that, then I think they would be like a legitimate contender, because like the lineup is there,
and they got more coming.
And they have more.
They got Leo DeVries for Mason Miller.
They did get an insane return on him. So they really should be. They really should be set. They just need some pitching, and they'll be ready to go. I think the plan is they're gonna probably try and have them be getting really good by the time they're in Vegas.
So that series is in Sacramento. Then they host you guys. Then they get the A's at home, which I know it might be oh, well, geez, what a break. And I get that. But then it's at Tampa, at Toronto, and they close with the Tigers, who they might have their.
This is the Red Sox schedule.
What?
This is the Red Sox schedule?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the Tigers, will probably have the Central clinch by that point, but they're probably going to be playing for a bye, I would imagine. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's going to pull away entirely with the seeding by that point. So the Tigers will probably have something.
And I like to bring up a point too, is that the Tigers were the power of friendship team from last year. So they know how dangerous a power of friendship ass team can be. And the Red Sox are the power of friendship team right now. So they might just want to get them out of the picture if they can.
You cannot fool me. I am familiar with your game.
Exactly. Definitely familiar with your game type of situation. For the AL, I think that the playoff teams are pretty much going to be what they are now. I don't really see the Guardians or anyone overtaking the Mariners or anything like that.
The Rays could,
but
only because they have just enough pitching, and Junior Camanero's got 40 home runs. That's.
Yeah, they might be the dark horse. They might be the team that's sold at the deadline that sneaks in. And
I would have said maybe Texas, but they might not get Corey Seager back in time. He had an appendectomy, so that's going to hurt them.
Yeah. Royals. I mean, like you said, they still don't have Cole Reagan, so it's going to be tough for them. So, this next month, this last month of the season is going to be an absolute shit show. Where after tonight's win, we are 78-62. So if my math's correct, I think that means we have
22-ish.
Yeah, 22 games left.
Man, we were honestly just in St. Lucie, weren't we?
What's that?
We were just in St. Lucie, weren't we?
Yeah, for real. And now baseball's about to be over, or at least the regular season.
We are officially in legacy season.
Yep, it is. It is legacy time, and let's talk about some young Mets who might be building a legacy, some legacies of their own in their very young careers.
Whew. Man,
We smoking that tong bong.
hits for the tongue, as someone said. I mean, I've kind of brought it up on occasion on the show throughout the year, where it was, hey, these guys might be coming at some point. And it's funny to think that even at the end of July, we knew about all three of these guys. And at that point, it was just understood. Hey, yeah, Jonah Tong's the number one guy. Hey, Nolan McLean's pretty good, but Tong's the number one guy. He's if any of these guys are going to stick, it's
going to be him.
And here comes Nolan McLean. And I mean, certainly the Mets have had their wobbles since he came up. Can't argue that. But he has certainly pulled them out of the abyss that I believe they have lost 14 of 16 when he made his start. And I remember that week saying, man, this is the worst thing that could happen, is that you put it on this kid to be like, hey, you've got to pull us out of this right now. You need to be great right away, when he's getting his feet wet in the major leagues. And, you want this kid to be there for years. And just nothing phases him. I mean, he's going out there, he's mixing and matching his pitches. He's got the velocity you need. I mean, his sweeper's been tremendous. He's able to field his position really well.
Yeah.
Like every start, he makes at least one great defensive play, and he's been able to give them length. I think
he's got some moxie too.
I think the first start he went 5 1/3, and I think he's gone at least 6 in the next 3.
Yeah,
like I said, on July 31st, everyone was so sure that Tong was the number one guy by some distance. And it's like, man, and then Nolan McLean just comes in here and does this. And Jonah Tong's debut last week, I mean, that's another injection, if nothing else, of like, okay, at least this kid's going to come up here and we're going to find out. Like, we're going to get a chance to see, hey, and if this kid just happens to be legit, well, great, because we need that right now.
Yeah.
The line can be a little misleading on Jonah Tong, and I'll certainly give him grace in that effect, because the fact that the Mets scored 12 runs in the first 2 innings, like a 10-year pitcher would have trouble with the like pitchers always talk about rhythm. Well, there's a certain rhythm to each inning, and you generally know how long most innings are going to go, and you pace yourself and you get used to that. A 10-year pitcher would have struggled with 12 runs in 2 innings. Anybody, and you wouldn't fault him for that. But it's 100 times so when it's your major league debut, you're at home, everyone's been waiting for you to come up, and everyone's looking to you to be like, all right, are you the guy? Because we kind of need one.
Yeah,
and then your team scores 12 runs. Like, you just got to be sitting there in the dugout like, all right, come on, let me get back out there. Come on, man. I want to keep throwing. Come on.
Yeah.
And even with all that, even if this command was a little off, which he threw 97 pitches in 5 innings, so hard to say it's not a little.
Yeah, the command was a little shaky, but I mean, I was like, because I watched the beginning of that start, and then I think the Yankees came on, or I forget what I was doing, but I was watching the beginning of that game, and I was thinking that like they were putting the ball in play on him a lot, and like he didn't, his stuff wasn't as overpowering as I necessarily expected it to be. It seemed like he was more in like the 94, 95 range and like the real high 90s.
You can make a living there, though.
Yeah, you can make a good living there, and it kind of almost makes you more efficient. But I mean, he did also finish the game with 6 Ks. So I guess he kind of was getting more of that swing and miss stuff like as the game went on.
Yeah, and I'm thinking a more evenly paced game will probably be to his benefit. We'll see on Saturday, and that'll be interesting because that'll be a challenge to go pitch in Cincinnati. That's not easy for any pitcher. So
yeah,
there's also the fact that
it's a big series for the Mets. I mean, you could really just bury Cincinnati right now.
I mean, you can't. I've said here on the show before, you don't really go into any road series expecting a sweep. I mean, it's hard to do. But even if they were to take 2 of 3 in Cincinnati, you would put them 7 back with under 3 weeks to play. That you'd feel pretty good at that point. Although, given our history,
yeah, you can never feel good till you see an E next to their name in the standings. But I'm sure you might hate this question, but I'm going to ask it. So Tong, McLean, and Brandon Sproat, which one's DeGrom, which one's Noah Syndergaard, and which one's Matt Harvey?
Oh, so here's where it gets better. So I mentioned Tong's pitching this weekend. He is scheduled to make his next start after that next Friday at Citi Field against the Texas Rangers against Jacob DeGrom.
Oh, shit.
Narrative Fest 2025.
Yeah. At first, I thought you were dodging the question.
No, but it's... Oh, boy.
Because to me, obviously it's, we've seen like one start from Jonathan, and what's McLean on like his
this
fourth
will be his
fifth start.
His next one will be his 5th.
Yeah, he started 4, and he's 4-0, 1.37 ERA. But to me, I feel like McLean might be the DeGrom, just because he's like a gamer.
Well, so here's the interesting thing, and I don't know how you want to make the comparison because, in all honesty, Tong might be it. Because if you remember, Jacob DeGrom was I think either a 9th or a 10th round pick when the Mets drafted him.
He wasn't, like, out of those 3, he wasn't really projected to be the best as a prospect. Like,
I think I've mentioned here before. There was it was either
like everyone always thought like I think like everyone always thought like Thor was going to be the ace.
And DeGrom wasn't when once Syndergaard got acquired. Like they already had Harvey in tow, and he had already made it up. Wheeler was knocking on the door, and it was clearly those two. And I think over the next year and change before Jake came up, it was, there's this kid in AAA named DeGrom. Like his numbers are good. I don't know if he's as good as the other two though. It was never really spoken of that way. It's interesting in this case because when McLean was drafted, I want to say McLean was either in the 1st or 2nd round. He was a guy where it was like he was a 3rd round pick, but he was a top 100 pick. So clearly, like you think the world of a guy if you're taking him with a top 100 pick. Brandon Sproat was a guy that they took twice. I believe they took him out after his junior year at Florida. He wanted to come back and improve his stock, and he did. He ended up going in the 2nd round the next year. So Sproat was a guy that they clearly liked and they wanted. And then here just comes Tong, where it's like he went in the 7th round. So clearly they, if you go in the first 10 rounds, you're somebody. But he was picked 209. And yet, like I said, by about May this year, it was this kid. We've been hearing about McLean and Sproat for about a year. And yet, by early this summer, it was this Canadian kid's going to beat them both there. It didn't quite work out that way. And we'll actually see Sproat on Sunday in Cincinnati, which very intrigued to see because it was interesting talking with a few people today because his promotion announcement was earlier today. And some people would look at the AAA numbers and go, yeah, but he's got an ERA over 4 at AAA. I don't know how good he actually is. And it's understandable to have that concern, but I think you also have to wonder if he was just bored at AAA waiting because we've been hearing about him for a year as someone who might be the first one up. You go back and you look at his numbers last year. He moved up across 3 levels last year. He started at Brooklyn, then moved up to Binghamton, and he had an ERA under 2.5 in 11 starts there. And those are where you really want to see a guy dominate, is at the AA level. If a guy can do that, as I see Chris's page just froze, so I don't know. I'm going to keep talking here. We'll I know we're still recording. Okay, he's going to exit and re-enter. So, all right, we're still good. But yeah, for Brandon Sproat, everything we've heard about him, and He was part of a great college rotation at Florida. He brought a team to the College World Series in 2023. Got them within a game of the title, and then of course they ran into that unbelievable LSU team. But if nothing else, I'm at least happy with the idea that they're letting these kids sink or swim. And given the issues that have been in this rotation now, and that includes everybody, because David Peterson's been going through it too. And I kind of like that David Stearns is basically saying, well, you know what? Let's see if these kids can do it, because we're not getting it from anybody else right now. So if nothing else, I'm excited to see, like, if Brandon Sproat can hang in there, he'll be going against that's a good Cincinnati team. And if Brandon Sproat can give them 6 innings on Sunday, all of a sudden that kind of changes a lot of things for this team, because Nolan McLean clearly can handle it. I feel pretty confident that Jonah Tong's going to be just fine. And if Sproat can do that, all of a sudden I feel a little bit better about what this team can do with their pitching in the playoffs. Obviously, the length's been the issue for everybody else. But if these rookies can hang in there, now you've got the idea of having a piggyback starter where it's like, okay, we'll keep the guys that have been our starters most of the year. They'll be in our playoff rotation. But the minute it goes sideways, we're going to one of these kids. You know, if Manaea starts getting hit in the 3rd inning, Nolan, you're up. Clay Holmes looks like he's tiring the 5th. Jonah, you're in.
Yeah.
Because also we might need some options with the bullpen, because here's a fun stat for you, Chris.
Let's hear it.
Ryan Helsley has thrown 11 innings as a Met.
Good Lord.
And I realize that pitcher WAR can be flawed because, you know, starting pitchers only go every 5 days. So how do you really calculate for a guy that only throws every 5 days? And it's even more warped for a relief pitcher because they throw less innings. Having said all that,
one bad appearance can like fuck up your WAR and your your ERA, and it could take like months to recover. It could take like the whole season.
Ryan Helsley's WAR is after 11 innings.
His WAR after 11 innings, with 11 innings with the Mets, I'm going to say negative 3.5.
A little high, negative 1.4.
Damn, that's still pretty bad.
How do you do that in 11 innings?
Yeah. Yeah, to do that in 11 innings is pretty absurd. I didn't even realize it's only been 11 innings. Like, the way the way it seems like literally every single time. I think there's maybe been like one time but Helsley had got into a game and got out of it clean. And every other
night when the blowout happened.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, they give him a nice low leverage situation and he does fine.
The lowest leverage situation.
Yeah, like non-existent leverage.
I've said in the Discord, I generally think that Mendoza probably catches a little more heat than he should. I don't think he's perfect, but I also don't think he's Matt Williams either. But him going to Helsley on Wednesday when it was a 1-run game is malpractice, especially when the night before their bullpen got saved because McLean threw 6 innings, Herget threw the 7th and the 8th, and I think got 2 outs in the 9th, and Stanek got 1. Like pretty much the entire bullpen got the night off. And in a 1-run game where Brooks Raley was available, in the inning where it got blown up, the batters coming up were Colt Keith, left-hander, or I believe Colt Keith actually is a switch hitter, but he's not as good of a hitter from the right side, so you turn him around. Glaber, a right-handed hitter. Kerry Carpenter, left-handed hitter. Riley Green, left-handed hitter. And he brought Helsley in to face that.
Yeah, that doesn't. That does not compute.
Off too. So it's not like, hey, look, we already won the series. We got a more important one coming up. I got to save my bullpen. I would have at least heard that line of logic. It wouldn't have been perfect, but I would have got it. They had an off day today.
There's no reason. No reason why you had to put him in there in that situation. I mean, I think that's like probably maybe the biggest gripe with with Mendoza is maybe just like a lack of feel for situations sometimes.
Yeah. Like you got to ease that guy. Like if you're trying to build his confidence back up, you got to give him a series of low leverage. Like, all right,
Yeah, you gotta.
you've done this a
Yeah,
bunch of times, and you
you
got to
gotta
know.
have him pitch the sixth inning for like you gotta have him pitch the sixth inning for like at least a week before you even think about going to the seventh. I mean, we've been living that with Devin Williams like all year, basically. And yeah, it's basically at a point where I just don't trust him in any spot. And yeah, I'm sure you feel the same way about Helsley. You know, some people just can't pitch in New York, I guess. I don't know.
It's so insane to me that the tipping pitches thing has been a discussion for 2 weeks. I'm not denying you that he's not. I'm just, if he went from that good to that bad this quickly, yeah, something's up. But usually when you hear a guy, you hear it with a starting pitcher where it's like, yeah, you know what, my last outing got blown up. I was tipping my pitches. I know what's wrong. I'm good now. And they're generally fine the next start or like 2 starts later, but they generally get that under control pretty quickly. We're going on 2 weeks of them being like, yeah, he's tipping his pitches. They don't know what it is.
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean, at that point, like, at that point, do you send him to like the minors to try and like figure it out? Because, I mean,
listen, Binghamton, Brooklyn, and St. Lucie are all going to the playoffs. Put him on their playoff roster because he can't be on this one.
Yeah, that way he can, at least try to figure it out. But it seems like, I mean, like, what are they, like, what exactly is he doing that's tipping his pitch? Like, or do we not know? Is that the problem? But we just know he's tipping them.
Because, I mean, there's been a few people that point out it's like he's still hitting good spots throwing 100 and he's getting killed. Like, there's something in that formula that's not adding up.
Yeah, there might be.
You should be good. If you're hitting your spots, you should be good.
Yeah, he might just be like, like it's hard to say he's unlucky because it's happening so, it's happening at like an unfathomable clip that he's just getting beat. But
and taking
I mean, when you have that velocity and command, like science says you should be great. And I mean, we saw how good he was in St. Louis. So, I don't know if it's just like bad luck or like hitters are just, maybe they're just, maybe. Yeah, I guess maybe there is some sort of tipping going on. Like that's the only way to kind of make sense of it. But it's like what I don't know what he could be doing. I guess it's always some sort of subtle movement.
The one theory I've heard that I'm kind of willing to buy, and I don't know how true this is, but someone said maybe he's just a closer, not a reliever. Which, like, hey, some guys aren't. Like some guys have to be in that position.
Maybe
of this is my game, win or lose. Put it on me. Like I've mentioned here before, anytime Diaz comes into a game that's a non-save situation, like they bring him in and it's 7-2 and they just need to get him some work. It's 7-5 just like that because it just doesn't click for him for whatever reason. And maybe Helsley has to have that adrenaline rush.
Yeah, the trumpets don't hit the same like when it's like a 5-run game.
But I don't know what you do because it's like, well, you're not taking Diaz out of the closer spot. Like,
yeah, you can't do that.
That would be malpractice.
Yeah, so I mean, is he? He's under contract like next year too, right? Like he's got a couple years of team control.
No, I think because if I remember correctly, the day of the deadline, people kept talking about that. Wow, they're doing this for 2 rentals.
That's right. So yeah, he is a rental. So I mean, I think it's a situation where you can just kind of go your separate ways at the end of the year.
This is also where, and I'll be the old man yelling at the cloud. I'm seeing people being like, this guy's the worst Mets reliever ever. And I'm like, some of you fuckers did not live through 2007 and 2008.
And it shows.
Some of you fuckers didn't live through Rafael Montero and Hansel Robles. And it shows. My God. Armando Benitez literally cost us 2 titles. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Was it like the corpse of Armando Benitez at that point?
Well, it wasn't the corpse, but it's crazy to me when you look up and it's like in a lot of the relief pitching categories in Met history, he's like top 3. Ask any Met fans if they have good memories of him. You won't find one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I remember him being pretty good, like in their runs, like the 1999 and like 2000 run, like when they went to the NLCS in the World Series. Like I remember him being good pretty much until the World Series.
Yeah, anytime it really mattered for us, because even in 2000, the game that we won in San Francisco, where John Franco had to strike out Bonta in that game, it only went to extra innings because JT Snow took him yard.
Yeah.
But looking at the postseason picture, so this is as if the season ended today, the Mets would be the 6th seed again, and they would get the Dodgers.
Yeah, you had to go across country. Not great. I don't think the Dodgers are invincible. I think they're a very beatable team. Or, you might just have to, if you just borrow all of the Pittsburgh Pirates players for that series, you'll win. You'll win in 2.
Yeah, in soccer they do these loan deals. Can we get Paul Skeens on loan till November?
Yeah,
that'd be sick.
Yeah,
bring Tommy Pham back in to get these guys pissed off. Just
to get under some people's skin.
I mean, sheesh. You know what? No joke. We could absolutely use Dennis Santana. I'm not kidding.
I love Dennis Santana. I kind of wish we didn't let him go, but I'm glad that he's thriving and coming into his own in Pittsburgh.
And they've got everybody healthy, right? Like Yamamoto's healthy. Blake Snell just came back. Glasnow's been back. So it's, I don't know. Tommy Edman's about to be back. That worries me.
You know the future song, Tony Montana, right?
Oh, of course. Who doesn't?
Yeah. Dennis Santana.
Dennis, listen, you know our history with players for the Mets who make their own music. You got a future if you come here.
Yep. Yeah, me and my friends will gladly write the Dennis Santana Tony Montana remix if you want that to be your walkout song.
You want branding? You holler at your boys at Citi Field.
Thanks.
A side effect though of and it's not necessarily a problem for right now, but since we've seen McClain emerge, I feel pretty strongly about Tong being able to do the same, and Brandon Sproat's going to get the opportunity here over the last few weeks. But this could lead to some very interesting discussions and decisions for the Mets in the offseason. And that if these 3 kids can all prove it, where it's, hey, look, we got to have them next year. You have to start wondering about, okay, well, who's going to go? Because Sean Manaea, and granted, I know it hasn't been going well for him. I'm kind of willing to grant him the benefit of the doubt in that I don't think people understand how hard it is to pitch with loose bodies in your elbow. That's not nothing. That's an issue, and it's such an issue for him that I think the thing that people have noticed the most with Manaea in his struggles this year, he's not throwing his changeup anymore. And Manaea's not a guy that lives at 98, 99. That's not how he beats you. He's a pitch. He has velocity, sure, but he does strike guys out. Even when he's having rough outings, he'll still get 8, 10 strikeouts. I've seen him do it. But if he has a very effective change, and when you don't have that and guys fear that, all of a sudden everything else you've got becomes a little more predictable, and we're seeing that unfold. Again, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt of he made a very tangible, important change during the season last year with his delivery. And that wasn't something that got found out. That held up. I know people will point to the NLCS and, hey, the Dodgers hit him twice. He also threw magnificently against the Brewers, and especially so against the Phillies. I still think there's a good starting pitcher there. He just needs to be healthy. We've mentioned David Peterson needs to get his extension again because you used a first round pick on him, and you've spent all this time developing him. You're getting the rewards of that right now when you're a World Series contender. You take care of that guy.
Yeah. Keep him on the books. I honestly think the odd man out might be Senga.
And that's where I was about to go. Apparently, they were considering giving him a minor league assignment. Now, I believe
Yeah, and he
has to
refuse to
accept
take
that.
it, or what's up with that?
So that's the interesting thing. Senga's promotion was reported. As far as I know, the Mets have not officially announced that. And I don't think they have to do that until like sometime tomorrow, maybe. Like, I think that has to be announced. Well, actually, they really could wait to make the official roster announcement like Sunday morning. Like, he just has to be on the roster by a certain point, so then they can put him on the lineup card. And I think part of the reason that they haven't made that official announcement yet is they're going to have to make a corresponding move. And it's, well, they could move Kevin Herget because he just threw 3 innings 2 nights ago. Or it could be Waddell or Hagenman, one of those guys. Because I believe they've used all 3 of their call-ups because now the rosters go from 25 to 28, but they're still going to have to move somebody. And I believe in Senga's contract, it's written that if they demote him, he has to accept that assignment. So he has the right of refusal on that. And as it stands right now, like on merit, he probably should go to the minor leagues, if nothing else, like just to get this worked out, because like this was why they paid $75 million for him. Like they needed him to be the guy down the stretch. And since he came back from the injury, and who knows, maybe he's not right still, but he has not been that guy. And I mean, I could pull it up. I believe he has an opt-out in his contract after this season, and that becomes a thing where it's if
Is
he
that a team
exercises
option
that,
or
they can just
a
let him go.
player option or a club option?
That's what I'm going to look for right now. I'll keep yammering here in a second. I'm trying to stall out to
Hold
see.
on, I got you. I think if it'll load.
No. Oh, so the team option? No, I thought I remember hearing something about it being after year 3. So he has a team option for 2028.
Yeah, I'm seeing that right now. So yeah, you still got. Yeah, so you still got 2 years of control. I mean, he might have to be a trade candidate, I think, at that point, assuming that you do pay David Peterson. I mean, I would hope the Mets. I would hope that they don't make the mistake of like basically not paying David Peterson because, like, all right, we got 2 years of control with Kodai Senga. You know, we still have Minaya, and we have these 3 young phenoms.
And not to mention, as I've said with Clay Holmes, it's not like he's getting smashed right out of the gate. Like he's giving you 4 innings, maybe 5, and then it goes badly.
And then it goes sour, and it's like every time. So you really can't ask for him for more than 4 or 5 innings. It seems like the 5th inning is like when the unraveling is. The 5th inning is like the latest the unraveling will begin.
Well, it's like the miles per gallon in his arm right now is like 6.
Yeah,
he's like
a 1998 Ford F-150.
And also should note that when next season starts, Senga will be 33. Got to be worth keeping in mind there. But I say that about Clay Holmes is that I do think he'll be better physically prepared to stand up next year, and that the innings workload will be easier for him to bear. Again, for at least those first 2 months, Clay Holmes looked like a very good starting pitcher. So there's something in there. It's just in terms of, can his body withstand it? Because if he can do that, that's an asset for you. So it becomes like, does Senga become a trade candidate? Do you try and go and trade for a star? Do you want to try and trade for a guy who might be a 1 or a 2? And, there's options there. And it's.
I think you could get, I know that like, obviously he's had more than his share of injuries. And right now his value might not be the highest. But I think you still have some time, and maybe maybe it's in a way, maybe it could end up being best if he is able to work it out, on this level. Maybe it's best that he does that because like maybe that increases his trade value going into the off season.
Well, so two of the things that I've been thinking about is, and again, these are, I don't know if I would necessarily like be going out of my way to do this, but Jeff McNeil's 33 right now. Next year will be the last year of his contract. He's still a good player. When you look around, they have a second baseman in waiting in the minors in Jet Williams. I mean, he is a top prospect of theirs, and they've kind of played him at every up the middle position while he's been in the minors because he was drafted as a shortstop. And well, you're not moving that guy. They could play him in center field. They've tried to see like, okay, well, if you're good enough to be a middle infielder, then you've got the range to play center. Well, the only trouble with that is Carson Bench has kind of made himself the guy in center field, and he'll be up at some point next year. So that leaves second base, which I think even if the Mets do keep Jeff McNeil, I don't know if they would keep him beyond next year because second base is one of those positions that when it goes for a guy, it goes overnight.
Yeah.
Like, people say that about shortstops, but it's just the physical demand of second base that just saps guys like that. Like we saw Ian Kinsler went quick. Brandon Phillips went quick.
Yeah, it's like it's not the hardest position to play, but what you have to do over the span of like, over and over again for like a decade, like eventually you're gonna eventually the wheels might not fall off right away, but when they do, it's like a pretty steady, quick and steady decline.
So it's, hey, maybe Jet Williams' turn to play second, or we've seen Brett Beatty can handle second. I think
maybe you might have like one more year of like platooning McNeil, and maybe one more year for L.A. Acuna to like figure it out.
Because on the other part of the infield, like Brett Beatty is very much making himself part of the long-term plans because we always assumed he could hit, and that's now starting to shine. It's the fact that he's this good of a defender that nobody saw coming. I believe Brett Beatty is over 2.5 WAR for the season at 25 years old with his first real extended playing time. So that's someone where it's, okay, well, we've got to give this kid a shot. If he's a legitimate two-way third baseman, we'll take that right now. Mark Vientos, I think, at the least, should be your designated hitter going into next year. At the very least, we were wondering, was 2024 a flash? I think we have our answer. It wasn't. I don't know why it took this long, but 2024 Mark Vientos has returned. And
yes, sir.
Starling Marte's contract expires after this year. They may bring him back, just if nothing else, appears to be adored by that locker room, which especially for the Latin contingent, I get it, because that's someone who they can relate to. Like he grew up just like them, and he's been in the league for 14 years now. Like that's a guy they're gonna respect, and clearly commands Soto was praising him as a leader last week, which people tried to turn that into a Lindor diss. Which, what the fuck is wrong with you people?
That is so fucking lame.
It's WFAN for you.
Yeah.
But if they were to let Marte go, there's the spot for Vientos, because I think we all agree, like, he is not Brett Beatty in the field. You would rather have Brett Beatty manning third base, and if you just let Vientos hit full time, you got something there. So that also leaves, you mentioned L.A. Acuna. Ronnie Mauricio's kind of been the odd man out here, because L.A. Acuna, they still are using as the late game defensive replacement or the pinch runner if they need it. Ronnie Mauricio really has acquitted himself nicely, I think, when they give him the opportunities this year. It's just been harder and harder for him between Beatty having his breakout and Vientos coming back to life. And we can't take those two guys out of the lineup, and we can't really play him at second because McNeil's been so valuable, and where else do you put him? Ronnie Mauricio is a guy that, if I'm on another team, I'd be willing to take that gamble on. ultimately, I think he's a boom or bust player, but when it booms, it's
booming.
How do you ever get that? How do you get
Yeah.
that guy out?
Yeah, no, it's truly, he's truly the boomiest of booms and the bustiest of busts. But
So that maybe you have to package something together, between
I
McNeil and
think,
Mauricio and Acuna. I don't
yeah,
know.
I think the Mets are in a really good position where they could. I think the perfect solution to this. It's a good problem to have, but I think the Mets are in a really good position where they could help themselves and also they could probably help out another team a lot. Say
Yes.
there's a team that maybe wants to unload a player that they're not going to be able to extend to a massive deal. My brain's going in one direction right now, but
Say
say
American League Central.
some slapdick in the American League Central, Tariq Skubal. So say
I think it would take a lot more than that.
I mean, I think it would take more than that, but you have to give up prospects. But those are 3 MLB ready players that could help a team that you could include in the deal for that. Or it doesn't even necessarily have to be Skubal, but you could probably package them to get someone that can significantly improve your team.
Well,
That you could afford to pay too.
so I was thinking elsewhere in the AL Central, either one of Joe Ryan or Pablo Lopez, I would gladly take. They're both 29. They both have proven it. Pablo Lopez has proven it in that division. I mean, I know everyone will always talk about how good Sandy was. Pablo was, if not quite his equal, it might have been like 1 and 1A in Miami at one point. That was a guy I never wanted to see when we were going into a series in Miami, was Pablo Lopez. I would love to have that guy on my side.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, no.
Joe Ryan, too. Joe Ryan would be great.
Yeah, Pablo Lopez definitely deserves more love, I think, as a baseball player. But yeah, I mean, he always. Yeah, I think Sandy at his peak was better than Pablo Lopez at his peak, but I would take just overall, I would take Pablo Lopez over Sandy Alcantara any day.
Mm-hmm. I also do love the fact that a few years back when the Twins were hosting the wild card series, they had Johan come back and throw out the first pitch, and he came out like he was wearing a blazer, and then he pulls the blazer jacket out so you can see the inside of it, and it was a Pablo Lopez jersey because they're both Venezuelan, and I'm like,
okay,
if Johan loves that guy, I'm in.
Yeah,
I already thought he was a good
got.
pitcher. I couldn't be more in now.
Yeah, I mean, he could be his ambassador or something. Basically, listen, you've pitched for the Twins, and if you're ready for a new chapter, this is where you go next.
This guy already gave you advice. That's keep talking to him.
He could be the next. Pablo Lopez will be the next Met to throw a no hitter. You heard it here first.
Actually, I do want to clip that. I think that would be great. That would be great.
Clip that, and when it happens in 5 years,
hey,
look.
But you look at the Twins right now, and it's they have Luke Keeschel at second, which he's been decent. I'm not going to knock him too much. You have Royce Lewis at third, and he's good, but we know the injury record there.
Yep.
They have Brooks Lee at shortstop, who is a prospect of theirs, but I don't know if the results have been what they want it to be right now.
Brooks Lee is nice.
Yeah, you could. If you're the Twins, if nothing else, you just unloaded all these guys. Being able to have a few more cracks at it, building your lineup where it's, hey, we'll give L.A. Acuna a run out. Let's just see. We'll give Ronnie Mauricio a run out. Let's just see. Or, maybe this could be something where we make Royce Lewis our DH, and so he doesn't have to be in the field as much. And maybe that takes less of a toll on his body, and we can have
that can help.
Royce Lewis for longer.
That could help, but I mean, if Vientos is your DH, I feel like maybe if Vientos is this kind of a hitter when he doesn't have the field.
No, I was saying if you were to do this trade with the Twins, and if you move Acuna, Mauricio, and I don't know if you would put McNeil in that deal, but like that could be something where, hey, look, we'll play Ronnie Mauricio 80 times at third, and we'll have Royce Lewis DH 80 times. And so
Oh,
that way,
you mean like for the Twins?
yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like the Mets, like trading for Royce Lewis.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a way to see how we could get Minnesota to take this deal. Because like, you just sold everybody off. You might as well just like get more bites at the apple. If I give you two more where it's, hey, we really didn't know what to do with Mauricio and Acuna. But if you give these guys playing time, maybe you know what to do with them.
Yeah, and they could get more playing time there. They could get more playing time, and I think with the right, I don't know, I don't know much about the Twins organization. I feel like they're decent at player development, though.
Yes, I would agree with that.
So, I'm sure that they could, if there's something to get out of Mauricio and or Acuna, I'm sure they'd be a fine organization to do it. But you got any final thoughts on the Mets, or any final thoughts before we wrap this baby up?
Just that this is going to be a pretty eventful week coming up for the Mets. Just beyond beyond the Cincinnati series. I mentioned that next week will be Jake's official return to Citi Field, because the Rangers did come to New York in 2023, but he had already had his Tommy John at that point. I don't even think he was with the team at that point. I think he was still in recovery. And, sometimes when guys get to that point in their recovery, it's, well, like, I got to do stuff. There's no point in traveling with the team. I'm not playing. Right. So I don't believe he was with them then. And also starting Monday, they got a 4-game series with the Phillies, which as of tonight, they're 6 games back. So if they're going to make any meaningful run at the NL East, they probably need to win 3.
Yeah, you need to take at least 3 out of 4. I don't think a split doesn't do you too much good. A split just keeps you where you are. So I mean,
and they have to go to
Philly. If you split, I would say, like, at that point you can just pencil it in for the wild card.
So listen, to Carlos Mendoza, I know where the Parabolic Mike Emporium is. You're going to want to bring that to Philadelphia. It'll so fuck with their heads. Hit me up.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I guess there was something must have been in the air with that tonight in Philadelphia.
The softest thing I've ever seen in my life is Alec Bohm hitting into could not have been more of a tailor-made double play and blaming it on the mic 400 feet away.
That was very soft. I was talking about Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
But the Alec Bohm thing. And that thing that's been there like since Citi Field opened, or
at
least like 10 years.
Here's Alec Bohm hitting an extra base hit with the mic in the same position. Like, yeah. I told this to you after the sweep last week, and I remain firm in this even after the Marlins series. I don't know how it would go if it were a wild card series, and it probably won't. Like, we're probably not playing the Phillies in the wild card. I mean, we wouldn't. It's either going to be us or them. But if we were to see the Phillies in the NLDS again, if that possibility were to come up, Philly would be terrified.
Yeah,
and I think that should encourage every Met fan.
They want no part of you, and I think it's pretty obvious. Especially from watching that series, at Citi last week, it was pretty clear by the end of it that the Phillies couldn't wait for it to be over.
And on a related note with that, this team has been immensely frustrating for 3 months, and I get it. And there's plenty of things to complain about. They're valid.
Yeah,
but I've held firm to the idea of, if you could just get there, none of that matters. The slate wipes clean, and then you just got to win. What is it now? I think you got to win 13 games now. Like, if they were to get to the wild card round, it would be 2, then 3. You just have to win 13 games.
Yeah, 13 at most.
Well, looking at the AL, the Blue Jays currently lead the AL East. The Mets swept them. Granted, that was second week of the season, but still. The Tigers currently lead the AL Central. They just won a series in Detroit. And it's not like the Tigers have been playing bad ball. That's a good team.
Yeah.
They lost this.
Although I do not trust the Tigers.
They lost a series to the Astros, but that was literally the first series of the season. I'm not gonna.
Yeah, you can't.
The wild card teams in the AL, they split a season series with the Yankees.
Yep.
The
famous split of 2025.
They won the season series against the Mariners. The Red Sox caught them, but like, hey, and that's the other wild card team. Yeah, the Red Sox won that series, but like, hey, that'll happen.
That was also like around the time the Red Sox were like getting hot.
Right. And then in the NL East, or in the NL, the Mets have already won the Phillies could win all 4 next week. The Mets will have already won the season series against the Phillies.
Yep.
They won the season series against the Dodgers. They still have to play the Cubs one more time, but they won 2 of 3 earlier in the season against the Cubs. The Padres, well, that would be a little trickier, and we still have to play them one more time. But
yeah,
by and large, I just named most of the playoff field. The Mets have generally held their own against most of them.
Oh, yeah, no, they
and
definitely
that's where I kind of hold firm to the idea of just get in.
And just get in and let the chips fall where they may.
You would still have your flaws, but you would be playing a bunch of teams that when you look at the regular season ledger, hey, we were right there with, and we could say, hey, we could beat these guys, or we could beat these guys, or these guys.
None of these teams are flawless.
Mm-hmm.
And even like the teams, like even like the Brewers, like, I really don't trust the Brewers. Don't trust the Tigers. I mean, yeah, hard to trust the Blue Jays, especially like given the history of like relying on Max Scherzer in the postseason, and now you're relying on like Max Scherzer when he's 45 years old. So
and Chris Bassett.
So there's and both of them are older. So I mean, this could age terribly, but not exactly. None of these teams, like, there's something that all of these teams like have an Achilles heel, like even the Dodgers. Yeah, and the Dodgers, like, the Dodgers also, like, the Dodgers are supposed to win every year, but they, generally they're susceptible to choking.
The Dodgers have injuries. They have flaws. Yeah. They signed Tanner Scott to that big contract. He hasn't exactly been great.
No, he's been pretty bad.
And every postseason, Dave Roberts will have a galaxy brain moment at some point. It might come early on, like when he walked the bases loaded to face Vientos in Game 2 last year. It might come at a critical moment, and it might really matter. But Dave Roberts will do some dumb shit in the playoffs every single year. We have 100%. A decade of evidence.
It's just a matter of not doing anything to mitigate it. Like, right. let him beat himself. Don't try and beat him at his own game, because that's how you get beat. Talking to you, Aaron Boone.
What's the Sun Tzu quote? There's no need to fight a man if he's punching himself in the face.
That's right. And I think that's the perfect line to end this show on. So if someone's punching themselves in the face, you just stand by and you take that W no matter what. I know we live in an age where people on Twitter will call you a self-harm merchant, but it doesn't matter. All they care about is, they don't ask how, they ask how many.
They ask, did you?
They asked, did you? And you can say that you did. So thank you all for tuning in. We don't condone violence here, though. And we'll talk to you soon. Let's go Yankees. Let's go Mets. And hopefully we're in as good a mood next time we talk. Peace.
See you.